What's up, everybody? It's Matrix Inc. We are back for another episode of Ship Talk. Today we're going to be covering the RSI Apollo. It is actually not on the showroom floor of the IAE 2955, which really shocks me because it just released like 2 months ago. Really not sure why they didn't put it on the showroom. They didn't. We have a lot of ships on the showroom, so maybe they just didn't feel like getting it in there. But we actually have two variants we're going to be going over. We're going to be going over the Triage and the Medevac. The Triage being the base model and the Medevac being one that's got more armor and more missiles. So we're going to check it out on the website. Since it's not on the showroom, we're just going to have it in my hangar after I've rented it. Check it out. I think a lot of you guys are really going to like it. If you want to be in that kind of gameplay loop where you're supportive of like other players in the verse and like whatnot, it's something you definitely want to consider. But even if you're just wanting to like roll around and like solo and like do missions and stuff, it's another one that's going to be like something that you can like kind of make your home base out of. So, hey, let's get into it. Let's go to the hangar. All right, so here we are. We're on the RSI page. You can see where we have the Medevac and we have the Triage. The Triage being at 260 value and the Medevac being at 290. You're talking more armor, more missiles with the Medevac. So to you might be willing to want to spend the extra $30. Let's check out the Triage. Got some pretty cool pictures there. The Triage in action. I think that's a tier 1 bed. Remember, this has tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 beds. It comes with 32 SCU of onboard cargo. You have the 2 size 4 weapons, 2x4 size 2s, and then you have the 1x2 size 3 turret on top. That is a slaved control turret, so keep that in mind. If you're flying solo, you're going to be able to control that turret on the top. The length is 65 meters, 45 meter width with a 14 meter height. I know this actually got more width and more height on release compared to what it was in concept. That was really to get like everything they wanted inside it. All right, so we can check out the Medevac now. It's probably about the same thing. I probably won't even cover like. All right, so reinforced armor, expanded missile capacity for reliable emergency response in heavy combat zones. So personally, if I had to pick one, if I was like, I'm going to go get the Apollo, I'd probably just spend the extra $30. You don't want to be in a situation where you wish you had the extra armor, you wish you had the extra missiles. So you have the 2x8 size 2 missiles, same height and length, everything's the same there, but you're going to have more armor as well. So keep that in mind if you're deciding between which one you want. You may start off with a Triage, but you may decide you want to upgrade to the Medevac. So keep that in mind. Actually, we're going to go see it on the hangar now. So that way we can actually like enjoy the interior and everything of it. So let's get into it. All right, so I've made my way to the hangar. We're checking out the RSI Apollo Triage. We're only going to look at the outside of it because it's going to be the same as the Medevac on the interior. And we're going to be flying the Medevac version with the better guns and the better armor. But first thing I like off the Triage is I like the red paint better than I do the white. It has that classic like RSI like Constellation like cockpit shielding, except this one's much better, much more clean, much more visible. So I'm really kind of hoping once the Constellations get like a rework and like to their gold standard, that maybe we see something very similar, more clean pillars and like less blocking the visuals of the pilot. So one other thing I really liked was the overlapping like on top there of like all the different paneling and whatnot. So it looks really good. Some people didn't really like was crazy about the Apollos being bigger, but I think it's much needed, especially if they decide to do like medical drone gameplay and such, like what's been intended. So pretty cool. We'll focus on everything else with the ship on the medevac version of it. So we'll go fly that one, and before we do that, we'll check out the interior. So let's do that. All right, so we have the medevac pulled up. We already can tell, like, you know, you're missing that classic like red paint, but you have white as the standard, which I'm sure there's like plenty of different options you can go with on the store, which I really haven't checked them out. But if you like the standard red, I'm sure you can probably end up getting that. Ramped it and open up. Let's go. Ramped it and open up. Let's go. There we go. All right, so the first takeaway, and this has kind of made some people mad. So you have this big ramp, but as you can see, you are not going to be fitting an Ursa in there. The Ursa medevac will not fit. The way they kind of like close this off keeps us from having that option of ever getting the medevac in here. Because when you come in through here, you kind of think to yourself, well, if they didn't do that, we probably could easily got a medevac in here. So I understand the concept of why not doing that also. So take that as you will. I think it would have been a great opportunity for them to maybe consider putting the medevac as an option coming in here. So you have we have the storage space right here. You have your gun rack, your suit locker. I believe this is, I want to say components. Yep, it's your components. I want to say that one opens up too, but I might be wrong. And then we have over here, and we have the same thing: cargo, gun rack, suit locker, and then you have your engineer terminal, which that is not out yet. So still waiting on that. Hopefully in 4.5 we get engineering. So one thing I forgot to bring up is this is a modular ship. Okay, so you are able to swap out these beds to whatever you want to, whether it's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. These are all tier 3s in here. You are able to swap these beds out however you want to try to like set them out. So it's kind of a nice thing. Having tier 1 is very essential, but you don't necessarily need it for like every single bed. So you can do it for the tier 3s, tier 2s, set it however you want to. But I will tell you one thing. I was never a real big fan of the modular ships, but as clean as they made this Apollo, and with like the modularity of it, it really has me kind of excited for the Galaxy. So, which we're hoping for a release in 2026, the way things are sounding. So definitely looks clean. Everything. I love the white. I love it's got the hospital feel. It looks all really good. Now you can make the argument, well, you know, they didn't put the nurse in here because this is a hospital. Why would you put a truck in here? So all kind of makes sense, but at the same time, there's always a reason behind it. But maybe they decide to give us a variant or something with maybe a bigger version of the Apollo in the future where we can actually have a medevac. Because I think that would be really cool gameplays if we could actually have a land vehicle to go with our Apollo. So maybe they just missed the mark, but it is their intentions on how they want to set it. So we have more components. Love seeing the components because that means engineering is getting closer and closer. You have your living area inside the cockpit. So you have your little table area. We have should be a bathroom, the toilet, little bitty kitchen area, and then you have your 2 beds for the crew. And one of the best parts I really like about this is the elevator here. I'm not sure how to hit the button here. Let me go retract or send elevator. There we go. So you have like the shielding around it that kind of helps protect from the outside when it's open. So honestly, all looks really cool, very clean, very well thought out by CIG. Looks really, really good though. I like the rails. Pretty cool for sure. And then you can retract the rails to go back down. Looks very, very good. We'll get in the pilot seat and we'll check out some of the cool things about this. One of my favorite things they've added was they actually added the ambulance lights. If I can find the button here, should be right in here somewhere. Flight ready, open exterior. There we go. Turn the lights on. Let's hit F4, and you have the the flashing lights to everybody know that you're in an emergency. So that is pretty cool, honestly. Seriously makes me want to have my own Apollo. Looks pretty cool. We're going to keep those on, actually. So we're going to shut the doors, and I think we're about ready to be flight ready, guys. Power it on, engines on. MFDs look really good, just like everything RSI usually looks pretty good. Really like it. Very, very clean. I like it a lot. So, and the best thing is you have plenty of room to see. You don't have a lot that's really blocking you, much like the Constellation is, but it's a lot more clean. So I really hope that maybe one day we get that with the Constellation, where we have like the thinner pillars and whatnot. So lots of room to see. All right, so I'm going to set my joysticks up here. We'll fly with the joysticks. Definitely matches well with the station here, the white and everything. Looks really good. Love Orson. It's actually a great time to be doing this because it's daylight. Really see the views of Orson. All right, so I'm actually gonna go F4. We're gonna go and try to get to altitude and maybe take note of just how long it takes to get up to atmosphere. Let the boosters go back to 100%. We're going to be spooled up to make us even faster. Almost there. So now, there we go. I usually try to fly at about 75 to 85 degrees up. Not too bad. Didn't have landing gear out, did I? Maybe that was a terrible test. Terrible test. Terrible test. We have to try that again. A little slow with landing gear out. I knew I forgot one thing. Give it 100% again and see what it does in the last 6. Oh yeah, I can already tell much faster. So that was a terrible test. Terrible test. But we'll give up here. We might try out the weapons a little bit and such, but the ship feels really good. One thing about it, I know when the Star Lancers came out, was really good, and then it kind of they nerfed the speed a little bit, and it kind of got sluggish. But this feels really good. So up to plenty. Let's, for the heck of it, let's see what mission we can do. Looking for a moderate risk. We'll do one of those. So that might be a good test. So verified bounty, Bianco Spade. We got to go to Daymar Cave. That'll be a good chance to check it out in the atmosphere too. So, all right. So it's got me 40 kilometers out. We are doing a moderate risk verified bounty, okay? Just to try out the guns, try out the armor. No big deal if we die. If we die, we die. It's all right. Mind you, this isn't the most like intended gameplay for this, so keep that in mind. We got the missiles, so we're gonna use them. I have to remember we only have like 8 of those, so I need to be sparing with it a little bit. Alright, so I don't have the power all the way up yet. Alright, that F7's down. We need more power though. More power! More power. Take the power off our coolers, put it more towards engines, guns, and more towards shields, what we have left. So looks like a gladiator as I'm taking on here. Guns feel really good for what they are. Shields are actually holding up really nicely for me not really trying all that hard here. Almost got my shields down. Almost got him though, so there we go. So I'd say that was pretty easy for me, fixing the guns and halfway during the fight and everything. I'm actually really impressed with that. That feels really good. The flight feels really good. Send one more missile's way just as a greeting. Oh, we didn't lock. No. All right, cool. So we will take this back to the hangar and give this one last look over before we call this ship talk. All right, so I made it back. Ship felt really good, landed good, all the things. Little sluggish there on the coming in to land, but I think it's really not intended to be all that fast anyways, so not going to give it like too many deduction on that. Really like the ship though. The only real downside I think is the the NERSA not being able to fit. I think that would have been a really cool option. Overall though, really good ship. I really like it. It really meets the standards of RSI. All the new ships they've came out with, whether it's from the Polaris, the Zeus, the Meteor, Perseus, all these different RSI ships we've gotten over the last like year and a half, really holds to that standard. It's very clean, all the clean lines. Really love the ship. For a modularity ship, like being able to swap out the tier beds and stuff like that, it gives me hope for something like the RSI Galaxy. So if you have a Galaxy, this is one ship that's like, okay, it's gonna be like, I'm not worried about the module ships. So being able to like rotate the different modules out and stuff, I feel like it's gonna be okay. It's all right. Hopefully the Galaxy comes in 2026. I'm really hoping for that. It kind of looks like it's gonna on pace for that, so that's super exciting. Most importantly though, I want you guys to tell me if you're in the comments, let me know what you liked about the Apollo. If you don't like something, if you're right there with me with the NERSA not fitting. I think that was a big thing for a lot of people, was their NERSA probably could have had a chance to fit in that. Feel like some wasted space there on the back end, but very cool ship. I like it. It's really good though. The thing though is, if you guys can join our Discord, we're gonna have a fellowship, and so join our Discord. We also are doing giveaways. Find me on Twitch, links will be in the description, but also subscribe with the bell if you want to see more ship talk. All right, so have fun guys, peace.